Excellency, Right Honorable Denis Osadebe, Honorable Speaker, House of Assembly, Delta State, Her Lordship, Honorable Justice Teresa Gai, Chief Judge of Delta State, Honorable Commissioner for Higher Education, Professor John Nyero Tunkari, His Royal Majesty, Professor Epiphany, on behalf of the Governing Council, Management, Senate, staff, and students, formally welcome Your Excellency, represented by the Commissioner for Education, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Francis Orobedo Ibolowori, to our university on a most auspicious occasion on the first public lecture organized by the Tanangam Committee of our esteemed university. May I also extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Ato-Okowa, immediate past governor of Delta State, and his deputy, Dr. Monday Oyeme, His Excellency Right Honorable Denis Osadebe, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, His Lordship, Her Lordship, Honorable Justice Teresa Gai, Chief Judge of Delta State, Honorable Commissioner of Education, Professor John Tunkari, and our special guest of honor, His Royal Majesty, Professor Epiphany Azenge. It gives me great pleasure to also welcome our highly distinguished guest lecturer, Dr. Babatunde Bat Dulayemi Amotowa, former MD and CEO of Nigerian Liquefied Gas, former Vice President of Shell Global Upstream and EMP, among others, and recently appointed Non-Executive Director of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited. The chairman of this epoch-making event, our own very own Professor Emmanuel Ibe Kachukwu, former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, former President of OPEC, GECF, and APPO, and currently a visiting professor to Harvard and other universities globally. Our highly esteemed guests, all of whom have graciously accepted to share these moments with us today. On behalf of the University Governing Council, Management, Senate, staff, and students of this great university, I would like to acknowledge the great efforts of the Tanangam Committee, who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, bring together academic and town community together to discuss critical issues of mutual interest and to make this event memorable. I am confident that today's lecture will be a valuable addition to this endeavor. As we are all aware, the Tanangam Committee is a vital component of our university community engagement efforts, fostering collaboration and mutual understanding between the university and surrounding community. It is a vital mechanism for promoting partnership, addressing community concerns, and more importantly, the university developmental challenges for the purpose of enhancing overall quality of life for both students and staff. It plays a crucial role in bridging the gap between academia and the community, facilitating dialogue and identifying opportunities for collaboration, growth, and advancement. It also serves as a platform for community engagement, allowing universities to share their expertise, resources, and knowledge with the broader community, while contributing to strategic actions directed at addressing pressing national issues such as education, healthcare, and economic development. Very distinguished guests, today's topic, aptly titled Academia, Societal Collaboration and Transformation of the Nation, provides a vital backdrop against which to explore ways in which academic institutions like our Denis Osadebe University can be supported in a manner that to strengthen their capacity to make meaningful contribution to the overall development and transformation of our society. Its significance lies in its potential to spark meaningful conversation, foster collaboration, inspire action among stakeholders of various backgrounds and disciplines. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the importance of knowledge sharing, community engagement, and collective problem solving in addressing complex challenges we face, both in our fledgling institutions and society. I'm confident that our eminent scholar and guest lecturer will provide us with valuable insights and perspective on the topic. I look forward to hearing his thoughts. I'm also optimistic that today's event will inspire further dialogue and strategic collaboration between the university and the community. I would like, therefore, to thank all of you for your presence and participation, which is
That's not too good. That's not too good. Let's do it louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. I listen to the voice. It's my honor now to quickly invite the event, being the first public lecture to be organized by the university. The idea of Town and Gown Committee for the university was born out of the desire to maintain a seamless relationship between the university and the host community. The host community, in strict sense, covers all areas within 20 kilometers radius of the university. For that reason, our membership covers people from Asaba, Oko, Okwe, Ila, and other adjoining communities. And our membership is reflective of these communities. The initiative to have a committee like the Town and Gown is a recognition of the mercurial nature that sometimes characterizes the relationship between tertiary institutions and their host community. For those of us who were undergraduates in the 70s, will remember the Ali Must Go debacle, when a simple increase in meal ticket price in one of the Western universities dove into a national demonstration and catastrophe called Ali Must Go. Therefore, it tells us that whatever happens in the universities also has impact in the general society, and vice versa, what happens in the general society also has impact in the university. In the case of Denis Osadebe University, the 13th Asaba of Asaba Professor Chike Edozie, may his soul rest in perfect peace, in response to the growing tension on issues of land encroachment, perceived skewed admission policy and contracts and employment and appointments perceived to be against the host communities. He decided that it was necessary to have an early warning signal committee, which he christened the Town and Gown. The University Governing Council, in their wisdom, brought into this committee to, among other things, complement the effort of the university management and the council towards both infrastructural development and the social development of the university. As we said in value addition syntax, the environment was right 2 years ago for the establishment of the Town and Gown, and we needed all the authorizations which we obtained. The committee was proposed by the Asaba in June 2023. It was eventually inaugurated in August 2024. So strictly sensu, we are just about 7 months old. It was in fact inaugurated by the amiable Vice Chancellor of Denis Osadebe University, my good friend, Professor Ben Ogojafo. Since its inauguration, we have held 3 meetings. 2 were physical meetings, and 1 was a Zoom meeting. The caliber of persons in this committee lends itself to a quarterly meeting because of the very, very busy schedule they all run. The terms of reference of the committee are in brief. 1, to contribute in all ways possible towards the infrastructural and social development of the university, to ensure a mutual relationship between the university and its host community. I see a glitch there in the typing. To support the university in related to the above. In terms of reference, that we present today the first public lecture and fundraising event to assist the university attract sponsorship and funding for the in the various invitations. With a resounding supportive presence, we have passionately craved Your Excellency of the higher education, and gown as a worthy partner of the university. Thank you, and you're all welcome.
This great man. I want to run with the speed of light. Thank you very much. And quickly call on Ogwezi to come quickly and give the citation for our chairman
of Nigeria and the chairman of the board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation from 2015 to 2019. He also served as Group Managing Director, NNPC, from 2015 to 2016. I didn't want to give an order. So thank you for making my job easy. And became the only Nigerian to have held at the same time 2 portfolios as Group Managing Director of NNPC, the Minister of State for Petroleum, the President of OPEC, the President of GECF, and the President of APPO Unlimited, and the General Counsel for ExxonMobil Nigeria, affiliates upstream and downstream companies in Nigeria prior to this time in government. Numerous awards and prominent recognitions. Professor Ibeka Chukwu is a distinction graduate of law from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and the Nigerian Law School, a distinction graduate, and of law. He later bagged a master's in law, LLM, with special focus on energy and petroleum law, and a doctorate degree with specialization in petroleum and investment law strategies from the Harvard Law School, USA, where he set a record time for completing a doctoral thesis. He holds 3 doctoral degrees in law, philosophy, and business administration from Harvard University. Law books on energy, contract, investment, and petroleum. Since leaving office in 2019 as Nigeria's petroleum minister, he has been serving as a global international consultant on petroleum and energy policy matters, apart from his hectic schedules as a global visiting professor to several universities. Professor Kachukwu currently serves as a chairman of several Nigerian companies and global conferencing groups. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a lot of pleasure to formally present to you the chairman of the first ever public lecture of Denis Osadebe University, Professor Kachuku.
Before I hand over the microphone to Professor Kachuku, please, all the Oluzenians present here, I beg your pardon. Please forgive me, I know Ojemba is here, Owela is here, Alaze is here, Awolinka is here, the Port Harcourt Board.
Local central representatives. And so the officiating Professor Sendo, I'm not going to recognize and welcome people who are not here. I will recognize and welcome those who came to represent them. So with every due respect to our excellencies who are not here, I think I will pay more attention to their representatives, but indeed more attention to the Dou Asaba who is here. So a round of applause for him again. This lecture is coming at a very opportune time because the world is in a massive global tariff and ethics conflict led by a gentleman who's president of the USA. And one of the problems you're having is that the universities indeed are on assault. In fact, yesterday night I started up to 2 a.m. just watching the whole display of an effrontery polemics between Harvard University and the president, where Harvard has said, no, we're going to stand on principles that have been enunciated since 1612. And the president is saying, no, you can't do that. You have to listen to the government, tickle a little bit with your policies and principles. And they're saying, no. They've lost so far $2.5 billion in assured funds, which usually go to university for research, which is exactly what Dr. Osadebe is going to be talking about today. And in addition, I think by last night, he was now threatening that he will actually ban them from being a citadel for foreign students. You can't even let these foreign students into Harvard anymore. It's going to be an interesting fight to see. Harvard is very capable. And you're going to expect a lot of legal fireworks in the course in the months to come. Last year, they raised the total funds raised by alumni and by institutions who are affiliated to doing research in Harvard was about 47 billion. And over the last 10 years, they've raised over 2.3 trillion. So I think that Harvard probably could do less with the 2 billion that they're seizing and focus on research, because research is absolutely essential. But the reason I say this is that if you look at the history of Nigeria, we really have not given enough attention to university professors and research. We appoint them to portfolios. There are no professorial wheelchairs. They're not funded. And that is why we are far behind countries like China and India in terms of research. So whoever chose the topic for today hit the nail on the head right at a time when it is very, very important. Universities must remain centers of excellence. They must remain centers of research. And it's been like that all through generations. In 1984, the DNA fingerprinting was funded by Alec Jeffries, and it was from a university. In 1991, the webcam came from the University of Cambridge. The hepatitis B vaccine came from Pennsylvania University, working with Chase Center for Clinical Research. The e-books that you see today, the whole concept came from Joseph Jacobson. All of them came from universities. The Green Revolution, trying to make planting and agriculture a lot more productive, came from LVC, Stackman, the plant pathology at the University of Minnesota. The seatbelt concept technology came from Cornell University. All over the world, in 1846, the first operation under anesthetics came from Robert Liston. In 1848, Cambridge set out the rules of present-day modern football, something as easy as football was developed in Cambridge. In 1865, antiseptic surgery, the very first one by Mr. Lister, professor of surgery, came from Glasgow University. In 1895, the German physicist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, who was rector of the University of Wisburg, discovered the X-ray concept that you see today. And of course, ultrasound came from Ion Donald, the Regents Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Contraceptive pill, as we know them today, came from Herschel Smith or University of Manchester. So historically, it's always been university at the forefront of research. And the fact that we survived the AIDS virus was a collaboration of about 3 professors from 3 universities that finally found it by saying. So when you neglect universities, you neglect mankind, you neglect growth. And so I think if nothing comes from today, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot more from a very able and eloquent speaker, what this says today is that choosing this topic means that we're suddenly aware that we build very fascinating infrastructures all around. And by the way, I'm very impressed with the infrastructure that I see here. I haven't been here since it was the School of Agriculture, I think. But a lot obviously is going in terms of infrastructure. But infrastructure doesn't make you a university. It's personnel, it is grants, it is seats of learning. When I studied at Harvard as a doctoral student, I had 2 secretaries assigned to me, paid for by the university. I had an office assigned to me. And so if I could do this in 1.5 years, because I had a lot of facilities which we could not have. That's as a student. University professors at Harvard exit those portfolios.
Who has held top positions in major multinational corporations across UK, the Netherlands, Norway, and Nigeria. He has extensive experience spanning 25 years in the oil and gas sector, during which he led one of the sub-Saharan Africa's most successful enterprise, the Nigerian liquefied natural gas, and subsequently served as a global upstream vice president at the Shell head office. As CEO at the NLNG, Dr. Motowa's leadership was pivotal in generating $40 billion in revenue, with $22 billion constituting 14% of the nation's income, benefiting the Nigerian government. In 2014, the NLNG also paid $1.6 billion as company income and education tax, making the highest tax payment by any company in Nigeria's history. In 2015, as part of the financial relief fund known as the Bailout Fund, the NLNG made another contribution of $2.1 billion as 100 Nigerians in shipbuilding, with 30 young Nigerians working in Korea for over 2 years. This project marked the first export of tens of millions of dollars worth of manufactured goods from Nigeria to Korea, and encouraged the establishment of a dry dock in Nigeria. It spearheaded the construction of the Boni-Bodo Road project, which had been stalled for over 40 years, by providing 60 billion naira support. He coordinated the creation of a 25-year master plan for Boni, with NLNG committing 3 billion annually, and SPDC contributing 600 million naira every year. Under Dr. Motowa's guidance, the NLNG became the 4th-ranked company and the top-ranked homegrown company by the federal government of Nigeria. He was instrumental to the award of a $630 million 7-year helicopter contract to a local Nigerian company, securing $85 billion in support from shell companies for the acquisition of new helicopters.
I've been worrying for over 6 years in the 90s. I always feel at home in Delta State. I also found out yesterday that I actually have more reason to feel at home. Coming from Kogi State, I understand that the progenitors of Asaba actually migrated from Kogi State. So I can now call myself a Delta State person. However, this is my very first visit to Denis Osadebe University. I'm very impressed, just as the chairman said, and I commend both the state government and the university leadership for the commitment since the institution's establishment in 2021, building on the legacy of the Delta State University Anwai campus, founded in 1992. I have over the last 35 years spent my career spanning both academia and industry. I actually started my working life as a teacher in a college in 1988. I later transitioned to Shell and then worked in LLNG. Retired in 2019 and have since then been back to academia, where my current role is as president of a new university called the Nigerian University of Technology and Management in Lagos. You can therefore understand my joy to be back and to be able to be a strong advocate for collaboration between academia and industry and society. I think the chairman of the occasion had rightly articulated very well. In fact, I think he has summarized my lecture, and he has articulated very clearly the reason and the value for this academia and societal collaboration. And so I applaud the late Asaba and the Denis Osadebe University for establishing a town and gown council since 2023. Kudos to the Vice Chancellor for this initiative. This initiative lays a solid foundation for structured engagement between academia, industry, government, and the community. And it can serve as a strategic body to ensure sustainable collaboration that creates value. Therefore, rather than justifying the necessity for such a council, my focus today will be on the practical steps to ensure academic societal collaboration is effective and sustainable. I will also share a few global examples building on the list that the chairman had articulated earlier. But let's start with defining what academia and societal collaboration means. Academic societal collaboration, commonly referred as town-gown relationship, fosters a structured engagement between university and the broader society. This collaboration ensures that research and knowledge are applied to real-world challenges. While academia contributes knowledge, research, and talent, society brings real-world challenges as well as funding. Ultimately, the collaboration drives socio-economic development when done appropriately. So what is the role of university in academia societal collaboration? I will just mention 5, and there are more than that. The first, of course, is research, and I think the chairman also articulated that very clearly. Universities have the capacity to conduct cutting-edge research that can be applied to solve industry challenges. And it is important that research in universities are focused on real-world problems rather than focusing only on the interest of individuals which may not have real-world applications. 2, capacity building. Academic institutions provide training and they equip graduates and researchers with the skills necessary to meet societal demand. 3, policy development. Universities also contribute research-based insights that inform government policies and drive evidence-based decision-making. 4, startup incubation. Universities foster entrepreneurship and startup that promotes economic growth. And 5, problem solving. Universities facilitate programs and projects to address industry problems as well as local and global challenges. And so what's the role of society in academia and societal collaborations? The role of society includes the following. 1, providing real-world problems. Industry, government, communities identify challenges and opportunities that academia can carry out research on to create value. I dare say that any research that is not targeted at an identified problem or an identified opportunity is probably not the best area to focus research on. And so the provision of these real-world challenges and problems by society enables academia to focus on the right things. 2, society provides funding for research and innovation. Government and industry provides financial support for research. I know the example that the chairman gave of the US government now withdrawing funding support for the Harvard University may look like going in the other direction, but I'm glad, as he said, that majority of the funding in Harvard, which is provided by industry, high net worth individuals, continue to provide this financial support for research. But that's a key role that society provides. Society also provides opportunity to help turn research into viable products and help to commercialize patents and prototypes. Society also provides infrastructure. Government and industry can provide the universities with state-of-the-art facilities and software tools, including even for emerging fields like artificial intelligence. So permit me to share a few examples to build on the list that Professor Kachukwu had previously shared on academia-societal collaborations. Academia-societal collaboration has proven to be a driving force for societal transformation across the world. Leading universities have partnered with industries, government, communities to address complex local and global challenges to improve the quality of life. Stanford University and Silicon Valley in the United States are an example of this. This partnership has led to groundbreaking technological advancements, fostering companies such as Google, Apple, and Tesla. If you actually go to Stanford University, you will find that these companies are established on the campus. And I think the Vice Chancellor, I will encourage that in this academic collaboration with society, we also look at having companies established here on the campus of DOU. Because this close tie between academia and industry has the advantage of accelerating research and also can create hundreds of thousands of jobs and enhance economic prosperity. In the UK, in 2020, the COVID vaccine was developed in record time through the collaboration between the University of Oxford and AstraZeneca. This enables society to navigate one of the most formidable challenges of a generation. Currently, the University of Cambridge, AstraZeneca, and GlaxoSmithKline have joined forces in a £42 million initiative to create a future-proof COVID vaccine. This is an example of universities solving a real-life problem, in this case, a global challenge that really, I think none of us in this room can ever forget. In Europe, Germany's Fraunhofer Institute developed what the younger generation call the MP3 that has revolutionized the music industry. Fraunhofer also have helped pioneer the passive house concept, which dramatically reduces energy consumption in buildings through superior insulation and design. The Institute has further developed AI-driven diagnostic tools that enhance early detection of diseases such as cancer. At MIT, engineers have developed navigation systems with NASA for the spacecraft to return to the moon. They also collaborated with ExxonMobil to develop air capture technology, which can remove thousands of CO2 per day in carbon capture and storage systems. University of Ibadan's partnership with the Nigerian agricultural sector has contributed to the development of high-yield maize hybrids, which produce 30 to 40% more grains than traditional varieties. UI has also introduced early maturing and pest-resistant soybean and cowpea varieties, increasing local production and improving affordable protein for Nigerian households. The University of Lagos has partnered with Google to host the Google Developers Students Club, where students learn software development, AI, and cloud computing. But academic societal collaboration is also not entirely new, even here at the Cultural Development Program to develop disease-resistant cassava and rice plants with anti-malaria and diabetes properties, leading to the development of herbal treatment undergoing clinical trials. And there are many more examples. But despite these efforts, it's fair to say that academia-industry partnership in Nigeria are still underdeveloped due to the limited engagement between academia and society and the different priorities between these two groups. Strengthening this relationship will drive sustainable national development. As the former UN. So what are some of the strategies for an effective academic societal collaboration? To entail alignments between policies, firstly, the inclusive membership. Town and Gown Council should always include nominees for alignment with government's economic. Denis Osadebe University has already gone a long way in doing that special secretary, and so brings that government. There are also quite a number of academic professors from the Town and Council, which is also very important. However, I noticed that there are only two, and Dr. Victor. I would encourage the Vice Chancellor to look into adding a number of other industry players into the Town Council. It's very important that Town Council of the University. Two, the need for cross-disciplinary research. Real-world challenges are complex and require of a number of new innovations across the world and should be encouraged here at Denis Osadebe University. Carry out research with international scholars as well. Three, are more likely to conduct high-quality research. There is therefore a need for a mentorship program and on areas that are not valuable for society and industry. It has always been focused on real-world problems, real-world challenges, or new frontiers of opportunities. Monitoring of impact. It is important to establish a monitoring. Denis Osadebe University must have to take strategic steps to establish its reputation and foster collaboration with industries. While the creation of the Town Council is a commendable step, additional efforts are required to build a lasting industry relationship. The councils have met at least on 3 Town councils to consider as they move forward this dedicated industry engagement office to comprehensively, proactively engage.
On behalf of Denis Osadebe University, Asaba Delta State, we present to you Dr. Babatunde Babs from Ottawa. This plaque as a distinguished guest lecturer for the first public lecture on Town and Gown. Congratulations.
Thank you, His Excellency. You would like to make a brief speech? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have moved away from the era when the university was seen as an ivory tower, filled up with eggheads, totally devoid of happenings outside their own environment. These days, it is no longer ideal to refer to universities as ivory towers. Because to do so is to obviously emphasize and underscore the point that they have no relationship with what is obtaining outside. The expanded definition I want to bring to bear is the reason why some of us are here today. For a university that is just 4 years old, and I say with modesty that I was there at the NUC with the immediate past governor the very day the license of this university was issued. And I followed the developmental trajectory of everything happening here. And I've continued to engage with Mr. Vice Chancellor on faculties that are needed. Denis Osadebe was a lawyer. And how can we have a Denis Osadebe University without a law faculty? And so on and so forth. Of course, by the time my predecessor in office was following the development of this university as a first-class medical doctor, the idea was that there should also be a faculty of medicine here in Denis Osadebe. So to that extent, yes, it may be too premature, but we need those faculties, and to that extent, we need those buildings. The university may not be able to do it all alone, and that exactly the guest lecturer has clearly underscored. That's why there might be need for engagement spanning through industries, amongst so many others. But we are here to change the narrative as a community. Asaba as a community wants to change that narrative. We want to show that as a community, we have a buy-in. We can do certain things for this university because this university belongs to us. That's why we are here as a community. That's why all the chiefs are here. So all I can say without equivocation, that when the time comes, as the compare can direct, Asaba will speak. And I believe Asaba will speak eloquently. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for our very much. Not yet. Isn't it great? The Asaba was the first recipient of the
His Excellency will decorate our guest.
Thank you very much for accepting to perform that. Thank you very much, His Excellency. Of the state. Now the second one is for him as a commissioner of education. A round of applause for our has not spoken. And once the His Excellency speak, and everything come to an end. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
See Professor Asaba lecture, and he was well chosen because today is the day we formally unveil Tan and Gan of this university. The role Tan and Gan is playing now is the role alumni play all over.
The Executive Governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Obolewole, is a governor who loves education. and would really have loved to be here today. However, he has some pressing official engagements, hence he has sent me to represent him at this important ceremony today. So let me go straight to present the remarks of His Excellency. I am delighted to address you today at this public lecture organized by Denis Osadebe University, a citadel of learning named after one of our most revered fathers, Right Honorable Denis Osadebe, a poet, lawyer, and premier of the defunct Midwest region. His legacy of intellectual brilliance and public service makes this institution a fitting ground for today's important theme, academia-societal collaboration to transform the nation. The theme of today's discourse could not have been better chosen, as the journey for nation building cannot be left to government alone. It is a collective endeavor. In our quest for economic growth, social harmony, and political stability, the synergy between academia and society, including government, industry, and civil society, is not just desirable, it is essential. Universities are reservoirs of knowledge, but knowledge without social and economic application becomes sterile. The transformation of our nation must be powered by the application of research, innovation, and critical thinking to solve real-life problems. Whether in agriculture, education, healthcare, technology, or governance. The ivory tower must reach beyond its walls. As a government, we recognize the immense value that resides within our universities. Let me say this clearly. It also manifests in our support for research and innovation that align with our development goals, especially in agriculture, environmental sustainability, and youth empowerment. But we must go further. On the other hand, society must embrace the university not just as a place for certificates, but as a partner in development. Industries have to fund research. Government must adopt evidence-based policies. Local communities must see academic institutions as partners in progress. We must bridge the divide between town and gown. We must create platforms where the best minds in the university collaborate with policymakers, entrepreneurs, and citizens to co-create solutions. That is the spirit of transformative progress. We will continue to fund, support, and encourage universities to drive research that meets our local and national needs. Permit me to highlight some areas where we are already practicing what we preach in Delta State. In healthcare, we are working with university experts to strengthen the contributory health scheme and ensure access to quality health care, especially for rural communities. In agriculture, our government is funding extension services informed by university research to help farmers increase yield. In education, we continue to consult with educators and curriculum experts to align our learning systems with 21st century skills. And recently, in partnership with institutions like Denis Osadebe University, we are exploring ways to integrate entrepreneurship training and digital literacy into the fabric of our tertiary institutions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the future we desire for Nigeria is one of peace, prosperity, equity, and justice, which can only be achieved through intentional and strategic collaboration.
Your take home is that the university should collaborate with industry. Because if you look at it from the point of view of the community, community, it will be so narrow. So this is a way to unveil the tan and gown to be able to support the university.
Thank you. Your name once again?
Dr. Victor Iche.
You know that collaboration is very critical, and like what was presented, it is important that when a community hosts a university, that there should be strong synergy that will bring the population and the academic close together to work in collaboration and make sure that they produce results at the end of it. So what has happened today, and looking at the board of the council, you see the communities, you see the academy, you see the government. These three and the private sector. What has been taken away today from this lecture is that the private sector has a critical role to play. Yeah, you cannot ignore the private sector.